Hi, everyone. Let's start by getting Archie to be quiet. Hold on one sec. Archie, got it. Get. Okay. I don't know if that's going to work. He might keep barking. So today I wanted to talk about specificity, which is hard to say for me. So, and I'll probably have to say it about 10 times today. And this is a great topic as we're entering into race season. A couple of people did races over the weekend, and St. Louis Triathlon's coming up here in just a couple of weeks. So very exciting. But this will kind of give you an idea of the purpose of the workouts that you'll be seeing and the importance of the workouts. I just like to educate you and inform you on why I do what I do, so you understand it, and also hopefully that motivates you to do the workouts the way they're prescribed, because when you do them, great things happen. So as I was planning the talk, I realized that specificity is just one of 6 training aspects or training principles that I like to use in my coaching philosophy. And so it's important to outline all of those for you as we build up to the topic of specificity. You train hard, a lot of you do all the workouts, some of you do most of the workouts, some of you do what you can with life and balancing a lot of different things, and making sure that you're allocating the time in your training the correct way. So the workouts that you're doing are going to help you reach your goal. The number one training, or it's not the number one, but first we'll talk about stress. So stress on your body through the workload that I give you, so through the workout that you're doing, is to elicit a specific adaptation in the system that's under stress. So ideally, the system that you're going to be using in your race, meaning energy system. So if you are doing a sprint or a super sprint triathlon, or like Nikki just did the duathlon over the weekend, which was super short and just all out effort is pretty much the whole time. So training for that and the intensities in the training for that would be different than the intensities in training for a half Ironman, for instance. So putting the right amount of stress in the workouts, the stress to your body is super important. So stress the right systems. So as you're training for an Ironman, you're in more zone 2, and that's teaching your body to burn fat as fuel. We need that really for any type of race that we do, but absolutely positively for Ironman, you're going to spend a lot of time in that fat burning zone and teaching your body to be efficient at fat burning. And you don't necessarily need a lot of super high intensity anaerobic if you're only training for Ironman. The second training principle is recovery, and think of recovery as being just as important in your training as the training itself. Seriously. If you aren't allowing yourself to recover in between workouts, then you're not going to benefit, and your body won't make those adaptations from the stress that you put on it to build up. You're just constantly breaking down, and your body's not going to rebuild in the way that we want it to make sure that you're ready for your race. So making sure you get enough sleep. I feel like I say that all the time because I know how important it is. And I know that a lot of us tend to cut ourselves short in the area of sleep because we want to make sure we get the workout in, right? But sometimes that's okay. Just knowing that sleep is so important. It's okay to miss a workout. If you have to miss a workout for sleep, let me know. And I will be happy that you did that. We can rearrange and say, okay, let's see, what is a more important workout? What are the most important workouts of your week that we really need to get in to make sure, because sleep is definitely number one. Now, if you and you can, I mean, they say you can't really make up on lost sleep. My philosophy is if I need to get up early in the morning to do a workout, then later on in the day, yeah, I can take a nap and I can make up for it in a way. So I try to do it through naps. Not everybody has that ability during the day to break up your work and take a nap and just work later. But if you can, that's fantastic. And Tom, you came in just at the right time. We've had to talk about sleep. Oh. Tom knows. He tried at one point in his life with training to try to do it all, and you can't. It's dangerous almost. And you won't get the benefits from the workouts. So I just can't stress that enough. So if we need to have a talk about your sleep and try to figure out, be creative in arranging your schedule so that you can get more sleep, just let me know and we can talk about it. Also, if your day is busy and you have, I shouldn't have said that. That's not what I meant at all. If your job is physical, all of our days are busy. If your job is physical and you're not sitting much, or you're lifting heavy things, or you're walking around a lot, that's something to consider in your training as well. And also will contribute to your overall stress, physical stress on your body, and your overall need for possibly more recovery, depending on how intense the physical work is. A lot of you, as I'm looking here, have fairly more sedentary jobs, which bonus, you can recover while you're working. So that's good. That being said, and I know I've talked to many of you about this before, if you have something stressful going on in your life, emotional and mental stress can do the same things that physical stress can. So being really careful with that and giving yourself a break if you have something huge going on in your life. And if you feel comfortable talking to me about it, or at least just letting me know that you have something big going on in your life and it may affect your training, because it absolutely positively will affect your training. It can make your heart rate higher. It can contribute to the need for additional recovery. So give yourself a break when things happen in life. And it can be something really good and positive, like moving to a different house, which I'm looking at someone right now who recently moved into a new house. And although that's positive and exciting, it's stress that you need to consider. And so sometimes when you feel crummy in a workout, or you feel like you can't control your heart rate, that could be why. Or if you had something traumatic happen in your life recently, just give yourself a break. And in those instances, just adjust your workout and let me know that you had to adjust it because your heart rate was high because you have something stressful going on. That's all very important. The other piece of recovery is, or the other type of recovery, I should say, is the recovery that we have within a workout. For instance, in a track workout or a run interval workout, where you have recovery in between the work intervals. So there are work intervals and rest intervals, or recovery intervals. Those recovery intervals are just as important as the work intervals. So it's kind of a theme here, right? The recovery intervals, and let's also talk about if some of you are training for a half iron or a full iron, and I give you those long runs where you have a run 1 mile, walk 30 to 60 seconds, run 1 mile, walk 30 to 60 seconds. That's not because I think you're a weak runner. It's because that little rest interval, even if it's a small one, can reset your form, give you the ability to hold your form and hold your speed or power, however you measure your running, to hold your speed or power or heart rate over the amount of time that your race is. So those, think of those as not rest because you're a weak runner, you're resetting to hold your form. So it actually will make you stronger in the longer, in whatever distance it is. So it may be an athlete who's doing their very first Olympic distance race and 6 miles is the longest run that they've done. Then they may do the same type of thing. The run speed work, let's say that you do at the track. So let's say 4 800s with 400 recovery in between. If I look at your graph and I don't see a whole lot of fluctuation, I just see little do, you're not taking the recovery intervals. So I might talk to you. And I've heard athletes say, well, I feel like it's such a waste of time. I'm walking out there. I came to the track to run, right? No, it's not a waste of time. It's resetting you. It's bringing your heart rate down. It's resetting your form so that your next interval is super strong, so that you can do each interval super strong. That's the point of it. And well, that's one point of it. The other point of it is to make you faster or stronger, more powerful. By giving you the rest in between, you're able to hold a faster speed. So by giving you a similar type of workout where you have less rest in between as you progress, then you can hold that speed for a longer distance or for a longer time period. That's another kind of aspect of it. So rest is key to your success and your performance as an athlete. Remember that in all ways. And then also your days off, that's important. Same idea. It's just as important as your workout days, those days off. Some of you like active recovery, I get it. Some of you need to move or do yoga, and I get it. But really, really listening to your body and doing that bonus zone 2 run. If you really feel exhausted, that's the time to say, and I always say to myself, okay, do I feel like taking a nap, or should I take a nap, or should I do a workout? If I'm asking myself that, I should take a nap. If I'm asking myself, then, but if I feel fresh and great, then I know that workout's going to make me feel good. And I also will make that decision based on what my workout is the next day too. So, and I may give you that. I may give you a bonus zone 2 run the day before a track workout. But if that's a track workout, or you really want to feel good, or, or you really, we want your performance to be great, or you're doing some kind of a testing workout, then you listen to your body and what would be better for you, to stay loose and do a super easy zone 2 run, or just take it completely off. All really important, just to listen to your body. Does anybody have any questions on that so far, on any comments about rest and sleep and all those good things? It's all probably makes sense. It's just good confirmation to hear it again.
What about the cool down?
Yes.
Sometimes I cheat on the cool down if I'm going swimming in like 2 minutes.
And that's okay. So here's what I like. I look at the cool down as like a chance to truly do that. Just kind of cool down, let everything settle in. So it could be a walk. It could be just cutting it to a 400 walk or easy jog, but bringing your heart rate down. In research, I don't know if I want to say research, but I've read a lot of different viewpoints on the cool down. We know the warm up is important, and that totally makes sense. But is the cool down really that important? Not really. You're kind of getting a cool down just walking up to the pool. You know what I mean? So, but if I want you, and this is a good topic or a good question, Lawrence, because if I want you to get a certain amount of zone 2 in that specific workout, then that's where I could say do the last mile in zone 2, and then just walk up to the pool or something like that. So I'll make sure that if that's what I want, that I let you know that, because I understand on those pool mornings, or on those Wednesday mornings when we're doing the track, that some people want to get some good time on the track and in the pool.
Yeah, and that's usually what it is. And the other side to that same equation is sometimes when I'm at home and I was preparing for this race, you had me, on the trainer and then off the bike go running. But that training zone had a cool down on the bike. But if I'm doing a race simulation, I probably don't want to be cooling down before. So I just wasn't sure.
And every time I have you run off the bike isn't necessarily a race simulation. I'll kind of let you know in the details if I want it to be a race simulation. So more of it could be an interval where we say just stop and don't do the cool down. That would work too. But those negative split workouts, I like those for the race simulation. But I'll usually have something in there like race pace, run off the bike at race pace or something. But yeah, good.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Good questions. So the third training principle that I want to talk about is consistency. And I think you've all heard me say well, maybe not all of you, but consistency is really important in that, and I'm thinking of specific instances where it's really, really important, is those athletes who are really working on swim endurance for open water. So they're doing their first Olympic. I have a handful of people like that. So they're working on endurance for their first open water swim at St. Louis, and then maybe they have a half iron later in the season. Then their consistency in the pool is going to be crucial. And if they only come and swim, let's say once a week, then that's just not enough consistency for true success in the swim. It would be hard to say, oh yeah, no problem, you'll get better with one swim a week. That's not necessarily true. That's where I would say more consistency is definitely going to help you mentally and physically. And then also looking at, I'll say weaknesses. So let's talk about weaknesses. So swimming, that could be that's a weakness for some people, but it's also probably, it can be dangerous if you're not ready for it. So the bike and the run, we can just go slower, right? The swim, well, we don't want to talk about what can happen in the swim. So it's really, really crucial for safety to be prepared for that too. But then looking at weaknesses, the bike, I like a lot of consistency on the bike because it's the meat of the race. And that's where you can see big improvements, the more time you can spend on the bike. So like if your swim is already decent, then a whole lot of swimming might help you improve just a small bit, where a lot more time on the bike, or even just another day on the bike, could help you improve on the bike, let's say 1 mile per hour in your race, which could be considerable. So more time spent on the bike would be important. So if improving the bike is our goal for you, then that's where I would say consistency is going to be key for this goal. And the run, consistency on the run is important because building safely and maintaining your endurance and also, let's see, how do I want to say this? Consistency in your running will help also prevent injuries. That's how I look at it too. If you're only doing your long run on the weekends, that's okay, that's possible, but the more volume is definitely going to make you a stronger runner. It's going to help you reach your goals because I have a variety of runs in your training weeks for good reason. So each type of run has its purpose. Sometimes on Wednesdays, you'll see a hilly run, and that might be specificity, which we'll get to here in a minute. But that specificity is what your race is, or I might have it in there as kind of your interval day. So hill running is great for power, it's great for strength, it's great for form, so many things. So you can do your hill workout as an interval workout too. So that might be your kind of speed work or your power work that week in the run. Every run workout has a purpose, again, is my point there. So consistency is important. Oh, and I found this quote that it is scientifically proven that you detrain faster than you can rebuild fitness. I don't like to hear that, but it's true. So something to keep in the back of your mind. And, you know, a lot of us have reasons why we have to take a break from training, whether it's illness or, you know, life, but getting it back can be a little bit harder than building it. Okay, let's talk about hi, Ellen.
Sally, can you just clarify what you mean when you say consistency? I'm actually not sure what you mean.
Oh, sure. So consistency in the workout. So meaning if you, the opposite of that would be you do your Thursday run 1 week, and then you don't do the weekend run, and then the next week you just do the weekend run, but you don't do your Thursday run. So you're skipping workouts. You're not consistently you're not consistent with the plan. You're not consistent with sticking to your training plan. Does that
I understand now? Very clear. I get it.
Okay, good. I'm not saying you, I'm not pointing me. I'm just saying.
Oh, sure.
The athlete.
Right.
The athlete is not consistent.
Everything has a purpose.
Yes. Yes, you got it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, sure. And I know I had an athlete at one point who was very frustrated with his or her swim progress. It's not anybody that's on here. Very frustrated, and would only show up to the pool like once every couple weeks. And to me, that's a lack of consistency, right? So you can't, it's not my fault. So that is lack of consistency. But those that show up every time and do the swim workouts, that's consistency, and that definitely helps with progression, which is our next one. Number 4 is progression. So progressing, meaning as you get stronger, I add more stress for you. I add harder workouts for you. I progress your workouts as you progress as an athlete, as you gain experience as an athlete. So as you complete a race, okay, you completed it, you did the distance. How can we improve? Okay, you spent 15 minutes in transition. Let's work on transition. And I'm not really speaking of transition, but still that could be progression too. Progressing in the race as a whole. How can we progress you in the race as a whole? And then how can we continue to progress you as an athlete by doing it? Let's say it fits for the bike. We do a FTP test. You've exceeded your FTP. I mean, you've exceeded your watts. You've exceeded your FTP in a 1-hour bike ride that you just went out to ride casually. Okay, it's time to retest. We definitely need to retest because you're getting stronger and stronger. So we retest, then that means your workouts get harder. Your intervals are going to be more intense. It could also be in the form of your long runs getting longer each week as you're progressing towards your half Ironman. It could be your track workouts going from 400s when you just started running and you know, you're building up to longer distances, but you just started and you're at like 3 miles. And then we slowly build you to 400-600s. And then you get that down and you've done that a few times and successfully, and you're good and your heart rate's showing that you can handle that workout. And then we progress you to 6-800s, and we try to keep those 6-800s at the same pace as the 4-800s. And that's hard, that's a challenge, but that's going to progress you as an athlete. So adding, basically, it could be adding volume, it could be adding stress, it could be adding intensity to the workouts, and also just a more aggressive race plan could also be a part of it. Any questions on that? That's a good one.
Yeah, Sally, if we're completing what you're putting in Training Peaks, should we assume that we're on pace for
Yes.
where, because you know what goals we're after, right? So
Yes, good question. So, and let's put it this way. So I build your training schedules, your weekly workouts, and your overall plan is based on all of these principles. So yes, good question. And that's why I think this is important for you to understand. Yes, Helen? I can't hear.
Go ahead, Jen.
Oh, Jenny?
No, you go first. You raised your hand. I just butted in.
Yeah, so that's the thing that I wonder about often, because I mean, that's the progression is really you're driving that through the program, but and who was that? Tom. So yeah, Tom's question. I wonder sometimes, am I not pushing hard enough when I'm doing my I'm doing the program.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing those programs. I'm doing them all. But am I pushing myself hard enough? And you know, do I know? Do I just worry about it because I'm a worrier, or but am I not progressing enough because I'm not pushing myself hard enough?
Okay, well, and that's a good question. So, and do you mind if I talk a little bit about how we're working together and where you are?
Not at all.
So everyone's different. Helen was coming back from a knee thing, just like this chronic icky knee thing, and that would kind of blow up. So my goal for Helen is to do a lot of base building, She's a strong athlete. She has huge potential on the bike. Her swim is nice and relaxed and strong, and she likes the run. So that's all good. But my number one goal is to keep you safe as I build you back up. So the intensity will come and we just started adding more intensity on the bike, because you listening to your body and saying, okay, I'm ready to add more. My knee's feeling good. I can push harder. Let's do it. Okay, great. And the numbers are showing me that you're building a strong aerobic base. Your comments and your data are showing me that you're building a strong aerobic base. So those are all really important for me to know that, yes, I can continue to progress you, but differently than an athlete that comes in that has absolutely no history of injury. Right? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, good. So, but I want to also clarify that if you don't understand the intensity, but I feel like when I look at the numbers, you're doing them the way that I'm prescribing them. So I feel like you do know. So yes, you're doing it right, and you are progressing.
All right. We'll take this little personal chat offline later.
Okay. Jenny, did you have something?
Oh, I think I was just saying, I mean, clearly I'm like way off schedule lately. I've done that, but just wanted to say, I can follow Sally's program, and you just do what she says and it works out. It just does. I don't know how, but you just check it off and it just happens.
Thank you, Jenny.
That's all. When you do it.
Yeah, when you do it.
Yeah.
And Jenny, so she's been very sick. And so that's going to be a little bit different. We're just going to have to kind of start to rebuild her and safely, because COVID can mess with your heart rate. So my goal with her is going to be build her back safely. And she's also a really strong athlete. So I'm not worried about it, but my goal will be to bring her back so that she stays healthy and doesn't get injured in the process. And she does, and that she bounces back from being sick. Any other questions? Because I think this is interesting. Everyone, like I said, everyone's different. So you're what's the word? This principle is different for each person, really.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I try to let me confess here. I try to follow your training peaks schedule as much as I could, but sometimes it gets messed up, and especially on the weekends. Some of my friends, they want me to join them for long rides, which is not my plan, and I always hesitate to do that. But they push me and they say, "Okay, come on, join us, no problem." So on the progression, I'm not sure if it's a good idea or not, but joining them for rides like 50 miles, 75 miles last weekend couldn't happen that due to my flat tires. But is it a good idea to do that, or should I just stick to your program and then say, okay, hey, this is what I can do?
So let me say this. So progressing reasonably, I'll say, on the bike is important. You just don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're going to be miserable and then demand a week of recovery on an important training week. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if you've done it, you did a 40-mile ride. Let's just say you did a 40-mile ride last weekend and your buddies are like, hey, come on, we're going to go do 50 to 60 miles next week. Sure. I wouldn't see a problem with that. And also, the other piece of that is just being really, really confident that you have your fueling down, or paying very close attention to your fueling as you increase the mileage there. Biking is much safer than running, let's put it that way. So biking, Shashi, I would just say adjust your pacing and adjust your fueling as you need to when you bump up the distance to something that's a challenge for you. You know, I wouldn't go from like 50 miles to 100 miles. I mean, someone like Jenny could do that, and she's done crazy things like that in the past, but that's her as an athlete. And she has a lot of experience with fueling, doing Ironman and things. But if you don't have that experience and you're not sure of your ability, just be careful with that and don't put yourself in a situation where you can get hurt or it becomes unsafe. That's the bike. So biking, again, I don't think you can really over bike except those long rides, being careful with those few things that I just talked about. And then on the run, that's where people can get hurt. So just that's where I would say, yes, follow my plan. And if you have an invitation to go out and do a 9-mile run when you've only done 3 the past few weeks, or even, 5 or 6, maybe the past few weeks, then I would say, just shoot me a text, because especially if you have, your IT band issue every once in a while, I would hate to see that flare up and be an issue for the whole season. So just be careful with those things and feel free to ask my opinion when that comes up, or see if there's a way you can adjust it, go with them for part of it or something.
Yeah. No, completely. I agree with you. Definitely for the runs, I'm not trying to go overboard, try to stick to 5-6 miles range as much as I could.
Good.
It's a biking, and to be honest with you, on the biking, I'm feeling a little strong on that, maybe because of the workouts that we do and strength workouts on the lunges and squats and stuff like that.
Yes.
That's
good.
I really feel good on, especially on the hilly the climbs. I feel good on that part. So.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Yeah, the strength training can absolutely positively help you on the bike. And then back that up with your fueling, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But no, I think it's great to get a lot of endurance on the bike.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. Then the see, it's a hard word to say. Specificity is number 5, and this was the meat of it that I really wanted to talk about tonight. And this is the specific training for the race that you're doing, and that includes the distance of the race. So the different energy systems that you'll be using, like I mentioned a little bit earlier. If you're doing a 75-mile bike ride on at an easy pace, you're going to be using different energy systems than if you're doing a 40K or an Olympic distance triathlon. So training for whichever that is. And that's where sometimes, or a lot of times, that I get very creative, because I might have someone like Shashi who wants to go and do a 50-mile gravel ride the week after he does an Olympic distance triathlon, something like that. So we want to make sure he's solid and ready for that 50-mile gravel ride. But boy, that Olympic distance triathlon is pretty important too. That's his A race. So that's where we can be very creative and throw in some specificity for both races into your plan. But the gravel training is going to be beneficial to his Olympic distance race, and the Olympic distance training is going to be beneficial to his gravel racing. So it's kind of fun for me as a coach, but also for you as an athlete, to mix things up, because it's different forms of training, and it can keep things really interesting. That being said, for each specific, for those 2 different races, I'd be training him on 2 different energy systems, 2 different kind of muscle groups, 2 different external variables. So if he's doing the St. Louis Triathlon, that's flat pavement, and the run is in the park, and it's flat too. But the gravel ride is hilly gravel. So 2 different training modes. But this is what I've always done for my Ironman training and half Iron training. But riding on hills is going to benefit you no matter what type of race you're doing. And riding on those long flat rides, like we're probably going to, or some of you, a lot of you are coming out to Newtown this weekend, those long, flat, consistent rides where there's not a whole lot of stopping, there aren't stoplights, you just go and go and go. It's a different kind of fatigue on your legs. Those are really important too. So mixing those up, and yeah, the SBR West County rides are a lot of stopping at stoplights and stopping and waiting for the people in the different pace groups that break up. So there's a lot more stopping there, and it's okay. Think of that as kind of an interval workout. Don't get frustrated when you have to stop and wait. Just go with it. But the hills can really be beneficial in your overall bike power. So don't feel like just because your race is flat, like why is she giving me this hilly stuff when my race is totally flat? Again, there's always a reason for it. And if you're doing a hilly race, so a lot of people are doing Wisconsin, Jenny's doing it, very hilly, but getting those long flat, getting that fatigue on your body, working your aerobic base is super important. And yeah, I talk about zone 2 a lot, and just know that that's never going to go away. The stronger you get, you still have to work on zone 2. We still have to maintain that super strong aerobic base. It's very important for any kind of race that you're doing. But it's also good if you have a race that has been known to be windy, to get out on the bike in some wind, which I think a lot of you, I know Tom, it's like every ride he goes on is so windy. I was like, another windy one.
Exactly. Training for Arizona.
Yes, Arizona. So,
Well,
and the wind will
what is
make
your philosophy on that, Sal? I mean, do you know, because you can just burn yourself out going in. I mean, yesterday was crazy. I think I was doing 15 miles an hour in the wind and 25 with it.
Yeah.
So.
It's such good training though. It really is. It's great. And that is so good for mental toughness. It's so good for mental toughness, especially, yeah, if your race ends up being windy. But if it's not, well, then it's going to feel so easy, right? So no, I think it's great. But, you know, sometimes it can just be exhausting. So if breaking it up and doing some of it inside, I think we all agree that riding outside is so much more fun and interesting, and it is great for building your fitness too. So, so yeah, I say keep getting out there in the wind. It's hard. So yeah, that's specificity. So as you get closer to your race, doing more race specific, as you saw, as the weather started turning nicer, I started giving you all runs off the bike, run off the bike, run off the bike. Like every time you ride your bike, run a mile off your bike. Sometimes I won't do that. Like if you just did a race, I might not have you run off the bike that week, but then that weekend you're running off the bike. We're just getting our bodies so used to that run off the bike. It's good. And then, and so just knowing that, again, the variety of training on the different terrain is great experience, and it is going to help you in your race no matter what it is. But depending on what your A race is too, this is another place where I get to be creative, is when I have an athlete that's training for an Ironman or a half Ironman, and they sprinkle in some sprints and Olympics, and they say, well, I can't do that as a workout. I mean, I already know, I don't have to even ask. I'm looking at you, Nikki. Nikki's an example. Helen is too. All of you, see? Yeah, I'm not going to ever say to you on a race day, okay, you just have to do this as a zone 2 workout. You'd laugh in my face, right? You just can't. I can't do that. It's impossible. So I do like to have you all prepared for those shorter races and not have you do them at Ironman or at Ironman pace or whatever, zone 2 pace. But to give you some specificity in your training, no matter what the importance is that we place on that race for you, but giving you some so that you're good and prepared for race day. And that's also being realistic too. Like if you were just sick, or if you're coming off of an injury, if your bigger goal is another race down the road, then just knowing that that you just should focus on that race as an experience. Do the best you can, and it's an experience, but we know it's not the top of your potential, right? If it was the top of your potential, then we'd say that's your A race. So sometimes it's good if you like those endurance races like Ironman and half Ironman to take a year and just focus on, or even half a year and just focus on the faster races, so you can kind of see what your body does for those and see how you can do when we train you specifically for those to be an A race. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? And then we have one more principle. The last one is periodization, and really this is kind of a summation of all of them. So all of the coaching I've ever done is always based on all of these principles, but periodization is kind of the overlier. Like all of these principles we talked about are pieces of periodization. So that's just the way that I arrange your training schedule so that your body has the appropriate workloads along the way and the appropriate amounts of rest along the way, and then the appropriate stresses to continue to progress you on your triathlon journey and to continue to push your goals. So there you have it. That was fun. Any questions after all of that? Okay, well, you guys, everyone's awesome, and we had some great accomplishments over the weekend. Jenny took 59 naps. Lawrence did his first triathlon. Nikki rocked the duathlon.
Woo!
#1 bike split, female bike split. Yes.
Congratulations. Ooh.
Dang.
I know.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So it was fun seeing everybody, all those accomplishments. Okay, guys.
Newtown's open for business.
Yeah, so Newtown starts Saturday. So we're gonna swim, just swim as long as you want. We have from 7:30 till, I can't remember the time. Do you guys remember the time?
It was 9.
9, I guess.
9.
Oh, okay, 7:39. And then we'll meet for a bike ride. There are a couple different options. I published the, and I can send everyone the Newtown map too. I'll send it in my next email. So the Newtown triathlon maps are out there online, and you can either follow the Newtown route if you want to do that, or there's a 35-mile option out to Portage de Sioux. Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Do that as a group ride.
Yep. So the yeah, whatever you want to do, we'll have the maps published. But yeah, everybody's going to meet and go together. I mean, I'm not saying everyone will stay together. We'll break up into pace groups as needed. But yeah, it's a group thing.
Okay.
And then you're all welcome to come to the On Pace tent afterwards, where we'll have a big cooler of all different things and some food. And then, so this is funny. I don't know if anyone noticed this, but I had the SBR group ride in training schedules on Sunday. If I didn't, you're invited. SBR, it's for anyone and everyone, but I would love for all of you to come. That's on, I was planning on Sunday. So Elise at Swim Bike Run set up the Facebook event, Mother's Day ride, blah, blah, blah. We talked about it. And I'm promoting it. This morning I posted it and somebody told me, you know, that ride is scheduled for Saturday. It's like, no, it's not. It's Sunday. It says Mother's Day. I'm like, no, it's scheduled for Saturday. Like, well, I can't be there Saturday, so there might be 2 group rides. But I'm planning on Sunday, and there's a 30-mile option or a 50-mile option. Hilly, awesome ride. It's so much fun. And I'm going to get out there sometime this week in between raindrops and mark the course. I don't think there's a lot of rain in the forecast for this week. So I'll get out there and mark the 30 and 50-mile rides.
Elliot, so we're meeting for the bike in Newtown at 9?
I think that's what I put on the thing. Yeah. So that gives people a chance to swim and then get dried up. But I mean, if we need more time swimming, that's fine. If we can swim until 9, maybe I said 9:30.
I'll go back and look. I didn't see it.
Okay.
I didn't see it, so I'll go check.
Yeah, I think I may have said 9:30 because I wanted to give people a chance to swim as long as they needed to. And then so some people won't get there right at the start and then dry off, change if they need to, and then meet on the bikes. So that gives us time.
Will Newtown be swimming every weekend then?
Yep.
'Cause I'm
Every
out of
single-
town this weekend, so.
Oh, okay. It's just not on 4th of July.
Okay.
I was thinking about swimming tomorrow at Innsbruck if anybody wants to. It's gonna be cold. No,
What time? 5 a.m.?
not 5. I can't do it at 5. I could, but I'm not going to. I'm
can.
out there. I'm out
It's
there.
dark.
Yeah, I'm not swimming in the dark and cold. It would be probably like 8:30 at Alpine.
Okay. I was just asking.
It's not perfect, I know.
If
not
it's in the
good.
evening, I could have joined, but the mornings are tough these days for me.
Yeah, I think there will be a group that'll start going in the evening, one evening soon. I don't know when, but somebody was talking about that today. I can't remember.
On pace or,
Yeah, somebody from On Pace said they were
well,
gonna,
yeah. Of course it's on pace. Nobody else can go.
Cindy maybe, I think it was Cindy. Yeah, nobody else can go, just us. Yeah, and then we'll do a training day. I'm trying to figure out a training day at Innsbruck too. That's a great place to do a big brick.
Mhm.
And I'm working on another open water swim option, so we'll see. I'm gonna keep working on that. No more.
Watch out for holes in the ground at
What do you-
Innsbruck.
oh. That's right. That one hole in the whole place.
Helen's hole in one.
Helen had a ghastly wound from
What
her foot.
happened?
Oh, that was horrible.
Who said that?
Jenny?
Oh yeah, I said, what happened?
Oh, there was this.
Yeah, I was like 6 days into triathlon training and went out to Innsbruck for Sally's, like race simulation event. And I walked up, set my towel down on a rock right there by the beach and stepped into a hole like 2 feet deep and put like a 6-inch gash in my knee as I scraped along this rock.
Yeah, the hole was like right next to this big boulder where she set her stuff and her foot went right into it. Oh, that was horrible.
Oh no.
I swam.
You still swam. Yep. Yeah, so we'll get some open water going here. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining.
Sally.
Thank you, Sally.
Thank you. Have a good rest of the evening.
Bye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Feel better,
Bye.
Jenny. Bye.